Is self-diagnosing okay? I posted 2 days ago a video on my TikTok where I basically asked this question, and people got really mad at me because they were like, no, you absolutely cannot do that. That's very fucking dangerous. And that is very disrespectful for those who actually have gotten diagnosed and everything like that. And now I just wanted to make this video because I'm genuinely confused. You're like, should it be okay or should it not? Basically, what I was saying in the video is like, mm, if you're 100% sure that you have a specific mental illness, and you know you have it, you're even like you've researched it, you are like 1,000% serious, like 1,000% sure that you have the illness, is it okay to self-diagnose? At that point, in my opinion, it's okay if you're like 1,000% sure. But then people were like, no, like you're not a doctor. Like if you're not a doctor, then you cannot know like, do you have any mental illnesses? And I thought that it was kind of stupid. You know what I mean? Like if you know what I mean? Like mental illness, like their description is like very public material. So basically, if you have specific symptoms, I feel like, every single person knows themselves the best. So if you have specific symptoms that may like link to the syndrome, no, illness, mental illness, aren't you like, isn't like pretty clear like what you can tell that you have out of those symptoms? I don't, in that case, you know what I mean? Like, in my opinion, I feel like it's okay to self-diagnose. For example, okay, this is my experience. I'm 1,000% sure that I have OCD. It's so weird to say that on camera because I've never told that anyone in real life, but I'm just 1,000% sure that I have it. I had these symptoms since I was like 9 years old. Actually, I talked to a psychiatrist, like a couple of years ago, and she suspected that I had OCD, but then she like did this test on me, and I basically lied in the test because I didn't want to get diagnosed. I was like, you're like, oh, this is too much shit. You're like, I am too lazy for this. You're like, I don't want to do like endless tests. You're like, even like talking to the psychiatrist was fucking hell because you're like, I don't want to like explain my feelings. You know what I mean? Like, I know that could be like healthy, but I don't know. I just don't have the energy for that. You're like, I'm already dealing with a lot of shit right now. So you're like talking about that shit to a random person who then like knows very specific details about your life. It's just like very uncomfortable to me, and therefore I don't want to go to a doctor. I don't want to go to a psychiatrist. I don't want to like wait multiple years for a diagnosis. And like, and in my case, you're even like, I don't even know like what would the diagnosis do. I don't know if there's any like OCD medication that you can take. You know, you know, or like the only way to like properly, like fix OCD is exposure therapy. So basically, the things that you're scared of, you basically do them, and then you realize that it's okay. But I'm not gonna do that. So I don't know. I'm just gonna deal with OCD. I've had it for like I said, since I was like 9 years old. So 7 years now. So like, and I've survived this far. So like, I don't really need the diagnosis. I don't really need a label to put myself under to be like, yeah, because I have OCD. This is hard for me. This is hard for me. Like, for some reason, I just like, I am okay with how I am right now, and therefore like, I don't feel like I'm like getting a label for my problems would be like the most important thing to me in the world right now. Obviously, for someone who has like bigger problems with their mental issues because of their illness, like, for them, I understand why diagnosis is so important, especially if you have like depression or something. I feel like you cannot get specific like, what is it called? Like, for example, if you're not working, you can get like money from the government to like help you if you have depression. Like, you have it diagnosed, because then it's like, like, okay, clearly like you cannot do any work right now. But if you haven't had it diagnosed, then obviously it's like, like people just think you're lying. So in that case, you're like, I do understand that it's very important to get diagnosed, but for me it's not like the most important part right now. So because of that, I'm not even looking forward to get diagnosed. But like, then I just said on TikTok, like, I'm 1,000% sure that like I have OCD. Like, is it okay to say that I have OCD? And then people like no, like, you're not a doctor, so how the fuck are you supposed to like, you cannot know if you really have OCD. You're like, it could be 1,000 other things. You're like AUDHD, what the fuck that is. I've only known that there's like ADHD, ADD, but apparently there's AUDHD. I don't know if that's like a combination of autism and ADHD. I really have no fucking idea. I have no fucking clue. But my question, the reason why I wanted to make this video, I wanted to make this kind of like a talk video. I don't know if it's going to be long, literally, like, I don't really know. But I just wanted to ask you guys, like, do you guys think it's okay to self-diagnose, especially if you're like a 1,000% sure that you have it? Because you're like, on the TikTok video, I said, like, I'm 1,000% sure that I'm like, I have it. And you know, I don't use that term lightly. Okay, why does it sound like it's very serious? But you know, like 1,000%, like 1,000% is 1,000%. If I say 1,000%, then it's like 1,000%. It's like guaranteed, confirmed, over, drop the case closed. You know what I mean? Like, it's very obvious that I have it, and I know that I have it, and you're like, knowing is like you 100% sure that you have it. But people still said like, no, you can never know. And I was like, I just said, like, I'm 1,000% serious that I have it. I just know, you know? And then people were like, no, you don't. You don't have it, you know? That could be 1,000 other things. And I'm just like, I got really mad about it too, because I was like, how the fuck do you know me better than I do, you know? Like, I feel like I know better if I have OCD or not than you know? And I don't know. And I understand, like, why some people think, like, self-diagnosing should not be okay. Because they fear that, you know, that it's kind of like an inflation to actual diagnosis. Then if you say, like, yeah, I have, like, ADHD, then people are like, okay, so do you actually have it? Or do you just say that you have it? I get that point, but then at the same time, I don't feel like that's going to be, like, a huge issue. But obviously, like, the dangers of like self-diagnosing if you really don't have it, or I mean, like, even if you do have it, but if you just self-diagnose, you kind of like subconsciously start to think that everything that is wrong with your life, you know what I mean, like, just has to do with your illness. And that could be really dangerous in that sense. For example, like, if you, I don't know, like, I don't know. Like, if you, for example, have depression, and then you are just genuinely like mean to people, like, no, like, no, I don't know, like, do you guys know what I mean? Like, you like have other problems in your life that are no way connected to your depression or any other mental illness that you have, but then because you kind of like subconsciously think that, okay, you have it, then you immediately start to think like everything wrong with your life has to do with your mental illness. For example, the same way, for example, I have, my other leg is bigger than the other one. No, taller than the other one. So basically, I put like everything, every single time, you know, something goes wrong, I'm always like, yeah, it's because of my leg. You know what I mean? Like, if I fail my test, I'm like, it's not my problem that my other leg is taller than the other one. You know what I mean? Like, I literally put all the blame in my fucking life to this one leg because it's simply taller. And I feel like that could be the same thing, you know, like, for some people who are like suspecting, or even if they know they have like a specific like mental illness, even those, you know, who have it diagnosed, you know, like, it's not even necessarily having to be like self-diagnosed. Even if you, like, a doctor has like diagnosed it to you, like, you have it, you still kind of like subconsciously maybe start to think like every single problem in your life has to do with that mental illness. For example, I don't know, like, some things that, you know, are no way connected, you know, like, I don't know, because it's really weird, you know, to say any specific, but because it's like a combination of so many things, you're like, that could go wrong in your life. But for example, if you have, I have OCD. I know I have OCD. I'm not even going to talk about this. If I'm going to get any hate comments saying like, you don't have OCD, fuck you, because I do have OCD. I know myself, you know. But you know what I mean? Like, if I was to blame, for example, if I was really bad at having conversations, which I am, but you know, like, I'm not gonna put the blame on my OCD. But you know, I feel like some people could do that. You know, like, they're really bad at like making conversations and like talking with people, really bad social skills, and you know, all that kind of stuff. And they're like, oh, it's just because of my OCD. Then that can be really harmful, because then you're not actually trying to do any progress to like make yourself a better person, because you're just immediately like putting the blame on something else, so then you don't even bother to like fix it or anything. But like I just said, you know, like, that can also happen within those people who are diagnosed without being self-diagnosed, or like, you know, that they have a proper diagnosis. So in that sense, you're like, self-diagnosing should not even be the reason why like that is a huge thing. So it really made me think like, okay, like then what is the true reason why self-diagnosing is not allowed? You know, is it just because those people who are diagnosed, they think that they're like entitled somehow, or like they think that they have like more rights, or you know, that are they scared that they won't be taken as seriously if people just start? Okay, that kind of makes sense. You know, like that argument that, you know, like if you are diagnosed and then everybody, if it was like self-diagnosing was normalized and then every single person, you know, like would self-diagnose themselves, obviously, like I just said, there would be like an inflation. So when you say like, okay, like I have ADHD, like people don't take it as seriously anymore because, you know, like they are like, okay, well, everybody has ADHD, you know, people, they actually don't, but they just expect it, or they have to like self-diagnose them, you know. So that can kind of be a problem, but in my opinion, it's okay to self-diagnose yourself. You're like, if you're struggling and you have actually done the research and you're 1,000% sure that you have some specific, I'm gonna leave.